Knight Rider. For those who don't know, Knight Rider is an action-packed TV series from the 80s. This show is about a former police officer fighting against the criminal world with the help of his futuristic AI-powered, self-aware supercar named Kid, the star of this show. This show is one of the most memorable classic TV series. It might not be known to or remembered by many people in this era, but it is surely one of the classics of all time, and many people's childhood. My mom really loves this show and talks about it whenever she gets reminded of it. I bet she'd give her life away just to watch the show again. So anyways, as the title says, it shouldn't be a surprise that Knight Rider had its own game, just like many other TV series and movies. Till this day, we only got 5 Knight Rider games. The first one was released back in 1986, released for 8-bit home computers. Then in 1988, we got another Knight Rider game for the NES. 1989, Knight Rider Special. Then the Knight Rider games went on a hiatus for 13 years. 2002, Devil X Studio released Knight Rider The Game. 2004, they released a sequel to that game, Knight Rider 2 The Game. And then, it's been 20 years, we haven't seen any Knight Rider games. We did see a TV series in 2008, but... yeah, 5% on Tomato Meter. Nah, I pass. So, what is this video about? Well, I haven't watched the Knight Rider series, just watched some clips on YouTube, and I generally don't watch TV shows, movies or stuff. But I wanted to explore the gaming side of Knight Rider and shed some light on them. Lucky for me, I played Knight Rider 1 and 2 from the early 2000s when I was a young kid. It's yet for me to play the games from the 80s. In this video we'll explore the video games of Knight Rider series. So what do you say? Let's dive into the world of Knight Rider games. So first up, Knight Rider 1986. This game was released for the Commodore 64, Amstrad CPC, and ZX Spectrum. For beginners, those are 8-bit home computers of around the 80s. I tried the Commodore 64 version of this game. RetroArch made this task a lot easier. I mean a whole lot easier. So, Knight Rider on the Commodore 64, how is it? Did I actually download a cracked copy of this game? Damn, I'm such a pro. Okay, this looks weird. It's a game from 1986, so I'm not gonna complain about that. What the hell are these mission names? Okay, so the gameplay and the controls are something that I had to get used to, because on my end, D-pad was literally the controls for driving and walking around in the stealth segments. You accelerate, brake, and turn with the D-pad. Pressing A just pulls out of the stealth segments for some reason. I think in this case D-pad is actually the WASD or the arrow keys from the keyboard, so not complaining about that. The mission descriptions are pretty slow, so yeah, that's a bummer and going to waste your time. Yes, there's a timer in this game. While driving, the timer seems to take 5 seconds to count 1 second, which is pretty funny but useful. While driving, you also have to be careful of these helicopters, as some of them can shoot you. Although that's not something you should have in your priority list, since Kit can shoot them down. You can also have another player to control the laser, which is cool, and Kit regenerates health over time, so not a big deal. Though, yeah, the physics are pretty weird. You can literally take turns without braking sometimes. But in later levels, it becomes necessary to brake on time. Your objectives? Do what the game says and drive to the specified destination and do what you're supposed to do fast. The map is like a tree. Suppose you want to go to New York, but you're in Denver, go to Chicago first, then to New York. It's like that. It took me time to understand the system, but once I did, it became easy for me. I managed to get through missions and stuff, albeit I use cheats sometimes too. So how's this game? Well, I have no idea about racing games on the Commodore 64, whether they were like this or not. So I played some other racing games and driving games on the Commodore 64 for some reference, and I think this game is... I just don't know actually. I just don't know how to rate this. Like, yes, I played some games, some felt good, and some felt like this game. Like, this slow driving, weird physics and stuff. Yeah, kinda like that. And on the other hand, some games felt better thanks to its speediness and responsiveness. So yeah, I think this game is average of those times. I just don't know. Although I will say that this game lacks a lot of features and gadgets that Kit actually has. Like, Kit has ski mode, turbo boost, super pursuit mode, and some more stuff. And this game literally has none of that. It's just driving as fast as possible and a laser. That's it. It's actually pretty weird and yes, not satisfying. And what's funny is that when I was searching for this game, this website called Moby Games listed this game as the greatest failures of 1986. Like, is this actually the biggest failure of 1986? Could be, couldn't be. Maybe your comments could make me understand this better. So overall, this game, I don't know how to rate it. But do I recommend playing it? If you want to experience it, then yes, I'll recommend it. But otherwise, you're not missing out on much stuff. And you don't have to do whatever the unhinged mission names say. No, please, no. That's just pure unhinged. Knight Rider 1988 on the NES. This game improved many aspects of the previous game, such as driving and overall gameplay, but also added new features that were missing from Kit in the previous game. You have drive mode and mission mode. Drive mode is like taking a drive and getting the highest possible score. Mission is the story mode of taking down some terrorists who stole something known as PIV bomb. Pipe bomb? Anyways, the camera will confuse you at first, but you have this radar? This will help you avoid traffic and enemy vehicles. Gameplay wise, this game is far better than the previous Knight Rider game. You have weapons, you have turbo boost, and the ability to pause. Seriously, one thing I didn't mention, that previous game, you couldn't pause the game for some reason. In this game you can, which is a massive W. So what are your objectives? Your objectives are to navigate through the traffic, avoid or destroy enemy vehicles, avoid taking damage or using too much gas using turbo boost, defeat bosses, and not let the timer reach 0 by destroying these yellow vehicles. If you fail, you lose a life, and you do the mission again. You get extra lives every 10,000 points. You lose all your lives, you do everything all over again, which is pain. Don't worry, every third mission, Devon will give you a password for you to continue the game from that point. Controls are the same as the last game, but the graphics, physics, added features makes the gameplay more fun and challenging. But don't let that fool you. This game is strangely hard for some reason. It took me almost an hour to get through the first mission. I kept running out of gas and getting obliterated by this first level boss. Seriously, how do I beat this bad boy? Look at the fire rate! The second level was easier, probably because I had a better understanding of this game, and the enemy vehicles started using pipe bombs to fight me, which are a bit easier to dodge. Also from the second level, traffic cars will just start trolling you. Like, look at this! Not something that's complainable though, but a bit of indication would have been good. One thing that bothered me though is the soundtrack. Sure, the music is nice, but where's the Knight Rider theme song? Last game had it. This doesn't for some reason. It's kinda weird actually. But anyways, what do I think of this game? Well, yep, it is actually pretty good. Far good from the previous game, in my opinion. I had a lot of fun spending time with this game, and I may play it more for some time. Definitely a recommendation if you're looking for some retro classics or some fun challenges. You won't regret it. Seriously, it's pretty fun. Next up, Knight Rider Special, released for the TurboGrafx 16 consoles, which are also known as PC Engine outside of USA. This game took mechanics and gameplay from the previous game and added a third-person view instead of the confusing first-person view of the last game. Surely this looks far better. The gameplay itself, it's fine. The controls are the same. You have turbo boost, weapons, ski mode and stuff. But I like the physics and handling model. Now you have the risk of spinning out. Your objectives are to get to the finish line before the timer runs out, don't crash, destroy enemy vehicles, avoid trucks, avoid taking damage from enemy vehicles, and fighter jets. Man, these bad guys are really high. They think they're in GTA 5. The game itself isn't generally hard, but after every level you'll encounter a boss. This is hard, thanks to the insane damage, fire rate, and the stupidly strict timer. Though I quickly found out that you can ram the bosses and it'll do more damage, probably because sometimes the boss gets stuck with Kid and take continuous damage. Defeat bosses and complete levels and you'll get an upgrade. Good thing this game has an option to continue where you left off, so gameplay and features wise, this game gets a plus. Now a negative side of this game. This game is only available in Japanese. Crap. So yeah, I couldn't figure out the story, so I had to get Wikipedia's help here. However, no luck there. Wikipedia is also lacking info. So what about an English patch? I'm not going to lie, I had to watch an English patch playthrough. The story is about Michael and Kit saving someone's daughter who got kidnapped. So as simple as that. Compared to the previous game, this game is a bit short. If you do a non-fail playthrough, you can complete it within around 30 to 40 minutes. It sure has less features than the previous game, but it has its own vibe and charm, which I personally love. And since I'm talking about vibes and charms, the soundtrack of this game, man, there's a reason why I love 8-bit retro songs. Overall, this game is a decent adaptation of the Knight Rider series. If you want some great arcade vibes and some challenge, put this game to your bucket list. You'll have a great time with it. Just make sure you can cope with the difficulty of the games from this era. After Knight Rider Special, we didn't see any Knight Rider game for 13 years. It seems like no one was interested in it. No one wanted to produce something like this, possibly due to obscurity. So, it seemed like that was it for Knight Rider games, Knight Rider series, but no, it wasn't it yet. The year is 2002. Devilx Studios develop and release Knight Rider the game, who are known for their London Racer series. This was the first ever 3D game of Knight Rider, released for PlayStation 2 and PC. Compared to other driving and racing games, even for that time, this game is pretty underwhelming. You have campaign mode and mission mode. Campaign is literally the story mode, while mission mode is the missions from story mode. You can play them anytime you want after completing the campaign mode. The story is of Michael and Kit investigating a series of criminal activities, leading to the first appearance of Garth in a Knight Rider game. Through the story mode, you do chases, investigations, puzzles, races, some wreckfest. The gameplay is basically like a racing game. You have your usual controls, ski mode, microjamming, SPM, turbo boost. Sadly, there's no weapons in this game. The only weapon you have is Kit itself. So in missions that require you to do demolition derby with other vehicles, you have to ram the enemy's rear or sides to do the most damage. The controls are basic, as I said, but the handling model, oh my god, it's just jank. It's stiff, delayed, but sensitive, quirky, janky. Some of the jankiest handling model and physics I've ever seen in a racing game. The sense of speed is also gobblers. And by the way, this game has a weird issue with its lighting engine. Take a look at this. The game lags whenever there's a light source from a vehicle is within the line of sight of the camera. No matter how far away the light source is, if the camera faces it, the game will start lagging terribly. It doesn't even matter if the light source is visible or behind a wall or whatever. It will lag if the camera is facing it. What's even weird is that it's not even hitting my system's peak capability, so I'd like to think it's an issue with possibly my integrated GPU. No, I don't have a dedicated GPU on this PC, never did. I've been making videos with integrated graphics till now, so I'm sorry. So, back to the point. This game is rough. Devilx Studios sure tried to revive Knight Rider, but I think they couldn't do the execution properly. Even though I have childhood nostalgia from this game, I don't think this game is that decent. Sure, they tried, and I appreciate it, but the execution is just underwhelming. And that's just it. This game has nothing really special to talk about, at least to me. If you ask me, I'd prefer the 80s games over this one because those games were well implemented, especially the NES one and the Special one. People who like this game, don't mind me for criticizing this game. Sure, it could be your childhood memory. It's also my childhood memory, but we can pretty much agree that this game is pretty rough and bland. Would I recommend playing it? If you want to experience it, don't care about a bit of repetitiveness or jank handling models, then sure, go on. Otherwise, maybe no. You're not missing out on much stuff. So anyways, this game surprisingly got a sequel that's supposed to improve on what's wrong with this game and add new features. So let's check that out too. Yep, from the same developers, Knight Rider 2 The Game was released in 2004 for PlayStation 2 and PC. This game resolves some of the issues from the previous games and adds new mechanics. You have campaign mode and mission mode. It's basically the same as the previous game, so not gonna explain that. But you also have some extra stuff, like background info on Kit, Semi, and stuff, clips from the TV show, and a quiz mode that has the rights to call you average. The story takes place 2 years after the previous game. Kid and Michael investigate a criminal organization and find out Garth is alive, and their job is to take him down again. The story mode received a huge downgrade from the previous game, since there's only 11 missions in this game compared to the 15 in the previous game. Though they have somewhat variety in them, it could have been longer in my opinion. And I think they focus too hard on the variety, and that's why this is the first mission. Yes, driving with the camera facing backwards for dodging missiles. This can throw off anyone on their first playthrough. But if you know what you're doing, you can complete this game in less than 1.5 an hour, or even quicker. Steam Refund Challenge would have been crazy on this game if it was on Steam. Since in order to refund the game on Steam, you have to do it with less than 2 hours of playtime. So yeah, you could complete the game on time and refund it, which would have been pretty hilarious. So anyways, the handling model is a little better than the previous game. Sure, it's still kinda stiff, quirky, but feels more manageable to me. The controls are like the previous game. You have your usual turbo boost, super pursuit mode, ski mode, micro jam, but alongside those you also have weapons now. You also get the ability to regenerate your health from these generators found sometimes around levels. Through the game you do investigations, escapes, fighting against robots and various bosses, time trials and stuff. In my opinion, this game got a better execution compared to the previous game. This game's short length makes me sad though. This game definitely could have had a longer story and a couple of more missions. It's clear that Devil X Studios tried to put love to this game, but they couldn't, probably due to time constraints. The game also feels somewhat bland to me, and it's obviously not great. But this game is surely fun if you ignore the issues. Overall, decent game, could have been better. Though I really wish this game was a bit bigger and longer. But oh well, guess that's not happening. Would I recommend it? Well, yep, I'd recommend it, if you don't mind the janky handling model. This game is pretty fun actually. So, it's been 20 years, and no Knight Rider games. We did see a TV series, but yep, that sucked pretty bad. And sure, we saw Kid in various games, like Rocket League, but that's about it. It seems like the series is on the verge of getting lost. Many people born in this era didn't even hear about this series. Knight Rider is a charming classic, every kid's dream. I mean, look at this car, a futuristic robotic car that has the ability, the gadgets, everything a kid wants. It was even my childhood dream of getting a car that's like Kid, although that's not my dream anymore. But anyways, it is a charming classic, and I hope to see a good revival to the series, whether it's through a game, or a TV show, or a movie. The one in 2008 sucked, and that was the last of it. No Knight Rider. And if that's what this series is destined to, then oh well, rest in peace. But still, we can have hope. Maybe we can demand, show interest, show some love, and maybe, just maybe, we'll see something new from Knight Rider. So anyways, what do you think about Knight Rider series? Comment down below. I'd love to know your opinions. As always, like and subscribe. It helps me to stay motivated, and I'll see you guys in the next video. So take care, have fun, do your homeworks, and stay tuned. Love you all.